made a major heel turn in your career.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know, because this is a really valid question. Obviously, I know how the business works, but there's difficult things that some guys are asked to do. I didn't know if this heel turn, where you now were with, the enemy, and you were supposed to now portray the United States of America on American TV, if this was something that you were okay with doing, or whether it was difficult, and if, you know, how you felt about that, and also how you think it would be perceived in the world today of wrestling.
Well, you couldn't do it today, that's for sure. No, I don't think you can get away with it. The way it happened was, as I spoke earlier in the show, I quit wrestling. I quit watching the WWF altogether. And when my contract came up with Hasbro, I was in, I think it was Cleveland, Ohio. And back then, they used to promote the pay per views in the hotels and things like that. So I saw this booklet that said, WWF WrestleMania 6. And I called down to the desk and I thought, I'll give in. I'll watch it. Yeah, I hadn't watched it in 6 years. And so I asked the girl how to do it. She said, "Oh, you just dial this, dial that, and you'll be in." So I went down, had dinner, came back up, and turned it on. Just as I turned it on, Hogan and Warrior were having their match, the WrestleMania 6 up in Toronto. And so I started watching the match, and I couldn't believe the production. I was just like blown away, because when I left, we were doing like a 3, maybe 4 camera shoot. If we were doing that, it was pretty
Pretty
big.
good.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at probably a 20 to 30 camera shoot. It looked like there was a billion people in that arena. I mean, there was probably 70,000 anyway, but it looked like a million people in there. And I just could not get over the production. So I get a piece of paper out of my drawer of my hotel room desk, and I get a pen and I start writing Vince a note. And I said, "Dear Vince, just watched WrestleMania 6 from Toronto. I got to give you a hats off and a salute for your production. I can't believe what I'm watching." And I put him over like $1 million. And I signed it Sarge, and made that little face and hat and thing that I do on my pictures. And at the end, I put "P.S. The main event sucked." I put 2 big letters, "P.U." And I stuck in an envelope. Next day, I sent it off with a stamp on it. And about 2 weeks later, I'm watching a NASCAR race at my home in Connecticut. I've kind of half fallen asleep, and the phone rings. I'm the only one home, so I answer the phone. "Hello, Sarge?" "Yes." "Vince?" "Oh, hey, Vince, how you doing?" "I'm doing good. I got your note. I want to thank you for your note and your input. We've been working hard. Kevin Dunn and I have been working very hard on our production, and I appreciate your feedback from someone like you. That means a lot to me." And I said, "Well, thank you. I appreciate that." He said, "And the match, yeah, it was a stinkeroo." Says, which brings me to my next question. I see your contract's almost up with Hasbro. And I said, "Oh, funny you should know that." He said, "That's for me to know those things, Sarge. That's what I And I said, "Oh, okay, yeah." He said, "Are you ready to go back to work?" And I said, yeah, I'm ready to go back to work." He said, "Well, meet me at my house tomorrow morning," because we both lived in Connecticut, not too far from each other. And so I tell my wife, here we are at the dinner table again. Guess where I'm going tomorrow? "Where?" "To Vince McMahon's house." And she says, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I think he wants to take Sgt Slaughter and G.I. Joe, the real American hero, and make him the real American hero.
Mhm.
And my children are clapping, yay, daddy, yay, daddy. And my wife's like, that sounds pretty cool. So I leave, and next morning I go to Vince's house, and he lives in a gated community. And I got through the gate and pulled up to his front door, and he comes out, and he's got a coffee waiting for me. It's like we never missed a beat. Like we
Mhm.
were old buddies from, forget all the lawsuits and all the slanders and all the things that went through all that. And he says, "Come on in. I got an idea for you. I want to show you." So he takes me into his house and go into this like little library, and he's got the prototype of Wrestlemania 7. It's going to be an LA Coliseum outdoor show. He said that's where Wrestlemania 7 is going to be. It's got big screens on all ends of the stadium, and he said that holds 104,000. I want to break the Detroit record. And I said, "Oh, good." He said, "I want you and Hulk Hogan to break it."
Mm.
I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, how are you going to make Hulk the villain?" And he goes, "Hulk, no, I don't want to make Hulk the villain. I want you to be the villain." I said, "Me, I'm G.I. Joe." "Oh,
Right.
Joe, you know. And he got kind of a chuckle out of that. And so he says, "No, here's my idea." And he starts going through this, little country in Iraq, taking over Kuwait and running the country. They got all the uranium. They're controlling the USA. They're controlling the world, the militaries. I want you to come back angry. I want you to come back pissed off about your country and your military, a bunch of wusses and what's going on in this world, and lays this whole thing out, you know. And I'm just kind of like, my mouth is kind of like drawn open and can't hear what can't believe what I'm hearing. And finally he says, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I kind of like it." He said, "Well, I want you to go home and talk to your family about it
Mhm.
because it could get a little rough.
Mhm.
And I said, "Rough? I'm in. I'm in. 104,000. Can imagine that payoff on that one."
Mhm.
Mhm.
So anyway, I go home and sit down with my family at dinner. And so how did the meeting go with Vince? I said, "Oh, it went great. Went great. Wants me to come back." "Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was you going to be the big baby face?" My wife said, "You're going to be the big hero now." "Yeah, we're not going to be able to live in this house with you. I can see that." And I said, "Well, he has a little different idea." And I started
Oh
telling
boy.
her about it. And she dropped her fork
Mhm.
on her plate, and she looked over at me. She said, "Are you out of your mind? You are going to get killed. You're going to not only get yourself killed, you're going to get your whole family killed. An Iraqi sympathizer?" I said, "Well, that's what he had in mind."
Mhm.
"Well, I don't think you should do it." I said, "Well, why not? 104,000. Can you imagine what we can do with that money?
Mhm.
Well, you do whatever you want to do because you've always made the decisions on your character. So if you want to go do it, don't tell me I didn't tell you so." And so I called Vince up the next day. "I'm in." "Okay." So that's how I got talked into being an Iraqi sympathizer. And it's supposed to be real nice, slow, easy. Just come back. Didn't do much promos. Didn't do much of anything. Just not being a good guy, not friendly.
Mhm.
And we were doing some vignettes, and they put them on the shows and showed me, not being the best of uh, personality, and so we're going along nice and smooth, and I get another call. Vince again. "Sarge," this is like 2 o'clock in the morning. "Sarge,
Mhm.
yeah." "Vince, yeah." "Well, we got a change in plans." "Oh, we are? Okay." I think he's going to make me, back to G.I. Joe.
Mhm.
He said, "Warrior broke Macho Man's hand last night in a match. He's out. You're going to have to
Mm.
take his place." So I hope you're in shape.
Mhm.
I hope you are ready to go. I said, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Mhm.
So off I go. Now I got Sensational Sherry as my manager,
Yeah.
and I just didn't like that to start out with. I
Mhm.
loved Sherry. She was the best, but she just wasn't the right person for that character.
Mhm.
So I talked Vince into bringing Adnan in, General Adnan.
Yes.
Adnan
Mhm.
El Casey, because he
Mhm.
was from Iraq. He went to
Mhm.
school with Saddam Hussein, spoke the language, and he was hardly doing anything up in Minnesota. So I called him up. I said, You want to go to work for WWE? Yeah, yeah. So off he came. We were in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I said, Go get your outfit on and I'll meet you in Vince's office. I want to show him the general. So
Mhm.
here comes, I go into Vince's office and here comes Adnan. And he looked just like Saddam Hussein when he walked in the door. He looked just like him. And the only thing that I was like, my chest was out and I saw Vince's eyes and he went, Oh my God. I thought that was Saddam. I said, Yeah. Doesn't he look like him? He goes, Yeah. And I said, There's only one thing we got to change. And he said, What? And I said, He's got a gun on his shoulder, on his holster there. We're not gonna, even though it was a plastic gun, I said, Don't even wear that out there because that just invites somebody to
Right.
Yeah.
think that they might want to take some shots at us or whatever. So that night I introduced Adnan, and I mean, it just went gangbusters. That was what they called nuclear heat back in
Mhm.
back in
So
those
so
days.
Sarge, you were 100% behind this. You were ready to roll with
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to make money. I wanted to sell out 104,000. You know what that's like when Hogan always gets I sold out 104. Well, I wanted to say I sold out 104,000.
Right, right. So I'm
Right.
saying, but so what I guess my question to you would be that so it wasn't difficult for you to turn your back in a. Of course, we know how this business works, but I'm saying you are truly military. So I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
really. It was a gimmick for you. You knew it. It was a character that you were willing to do, and you were
yeah.
fine.
It was all character driven.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, all character driven. I wouldn't have did it any other way.
Mhm.
And it got pretty nasty. I mean,
Mhm.
uh, when I took the title from the Warrior in Miami that night, I had another agent at the time, and his name was Roy Rosegarten. He was the big producer on the Everybody Loves Raymond shows,
Oh,
Right.
and
Right.
so we had the match that night, and I won the title. So now we have to redo all our promos
mm,
because now I'm the
Mhm.
champion, and
Mhm.
Hogan won the Royal Rumble, so he's my manager or my opponent
Mhm.
for WrestleMania 7. So we have to do the promos, and Hogan wasn't real happy because he'd already showered. Now he's got to come back out,
Oil up.
oil himself back up.
wah wah wah.
Yeah, wow.
Oh,
And
geez.
so we're doing this like at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're doing these promos, and he's yelling, McMahon, yeah, where's the black title? Well, we don't have the black title. The Warrior only brought the purple title because that's what he brought, and I won the purple title.
Mhm.
And Hogan wanted the black title for the shots for the show, because they were going to be the main photos. And he said he didn't bring the black title. So you're going to have to take the pictures with the purple. That's history. That's what Sarge won, the purple title.
Right.
Mhm.
So he said, and so Vince took me aside. He said, Terry's not real happy. So just kind of roll with the punches and wait till you see this next one. And I said, okay. We're standing next to each other. And Terry didn't even have his he had a pair of shower shoes on because he was only shooting from the waist up. Vince brings a box over and makes him stand on the box so he's taller than me
Oh
for the
no.
pictures. Oh my God. Those pictures, if you ever see a WrestleMania picture of me and Hogan with the purple belt, he's pissed. I mean,
Oh,
really, really pissed. The
that,
spit flying out of his mouth. And I mean, that was an honest to goodness
that's great
mad man.
shit.
He was not happy. So
No.
anyway,
Mm.
now I got to do some promos of Gene Okerlund.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there just not really paying attention. And Gene Okerlund's got the IB thing in his ear and he's doing a promo. He's like, wait a minute, hang on. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Sgt Slaughter's out behind the Miami arena burning the American flag. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear? I can't believe it. I went, I can't believe it either. So I walked in front of the camera and I'll go, cut, cut. And here comes Vince out of the control room. What are you doing? I said, he just said I burnt the American flag. He said, oh, well, no, you're not burning the American flag. We're just telling people you are. I said, no, you're not telling the people that I burnt the American flag. I'm going to get
No.
killed. Oh, okay. Well, we'll take that out of there. Well, they didn't.
Right.
So that aired, And so go to the, go out to have something to eat. I think it was the Denny's or something. It's 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I told my agent, I said, let's grab a bite to eat before we got to go to the airport. I got to catch a plane at 7 o'clock. No sense going to the hotel.
Right.
So we go into this. There's nobody in there, and there's nobody waiting on us. So finally, I asked the little girl. I said, "Could we get service?" And she runs into the kitchen, and out comes this burly guy, all white, got a navy cap on. He was probably a
Oh
Oh
no.
boy.
chef in the Navy, whatever. He comes walking over and he's got a spatula in his hand and he's tapping his hand with it and points it right at both of us, my agent and I. And he points it at my agent. He said, "You can eat." And then he puts the spatula right on my nose and kind of punches it off my nose. And he said, "You're not eating, not in this restaurant." I said,
Wow.
"Oh, okay." And I said to my agent, "We might want to go somewhere else to eat."
Oh,
He
maybe
said, "Yeah,
so.
I think that's probably a good idea." So he just dropped me off at the airport and went to his hotel. So the next day I get to Philadelphia, and Jay Strongbow is the agent.
Mm.
He goes, "Hey, Sergeant, good match last night. Good stuff. Good heat. Good heat." And I said, "Oh, good, thanks." He said, "Have you talked to the what did you call Vince? Did you talk to the Emperor yet today?" And I said, "No, I saw him last night."
Emperor, the emperor.
That's
The
right.
Emperor.
Good.
He
Chief
called him
Chief
the
had a
Emperor.
nickname for everybody.
You talked to the Emperor? And that was Vince. And I said, "No, I haven't talked to him today. I saw him last night." He said, "Well, have you talked to your wife?" And I said, "No, I haven't talked to her either. Is there something wrong?" "Well, you better give them a call. So I call up my wife. There's no answer. I leave a message. Then I call Vince. "Hey, Sarge, yeah, what's going on? Everything okay?" I said, "Yeah, everything okay there? Is there a problem?" He goes, "Well, have you spoken to your wife?" And I said, "No, I haven't spoken to her. Is there a problem?" He goes, "Well, not as of yet." He said, "But this morning, I flew back last night, and this morning someone called the wrestling office and said they're going to kill you and kill your family,
Oh,
kill me and kill my family and blow up our houses and blow up the office, blow up the studio. So I thought I'd take a precaution and call your wife,
oh God.
tell her I would get her a car and that she should go somewhere for a couple of days till I can secure your home." And I said, "Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to do that. So so then I finally get a hold of my wife. She says, "I told you it wasn't a good idea. I told you that wasn't a good idea." I said, "I know, I know." So a couple of days later, I get home and there's I lived in a home in Connecticut where you hardly could get one car up the driveway, much less a Winnebago. But when I get to the top of my driveway, there's a Winnebago sitting there. 4 guys get out, and they're wearing suits, and they come over, introduce themselves. Excuse me. And they opened up their coats, and they showed me they were packing weapons. And they said, we've been told to walk the perimeter of your property 24/7. Take your children to school, take your wife to the grocery store or wherever she wants to go, and follow you. And I said, well, that last one you might want to do, but you're not going to my children's school, and you're not going to the beauty shop. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And so I walk in the house, and there's my wife with a rolling pin ready to knock me over the head. So that made it pretty rough. I couldn't go too many places without, armed security. And they actually asked me to wear a bulletproof vest while I was wrestling. And when I would leave my house, I would take a police car and another car, and then we would go to the airport. And I wouldn't go through the terminal. I would go through the gates of the airport, through the ground where you pull up beside a plane, and they put the steps down. I would go up into the plane, sit on the plane, and then they would put the tarmac out, and the people would be allowed on the plane. And I'd already be on the plane, and people would walk by me and go, how the hell did he get on the plane?
Wow.
And so when we landed, same thing. Everybody would get off the plane, and then they would take the tarmac up, put the steps back down, and I would meet another car and another escort and a police car and go to the hotel or to the arena. And that's how we had to do it for quite a while.
Sarge, doesn't that make you go back and look at your life and your wrestling career and be like, what you're telling us right now is unbelievably I don't believe ever going to happen again, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I don't think anybody could do it. They tried to do it with a couple other guys, but they couldn't get it. They were afraid. Mm-hmm. They were basically afraid to get that much heat, so they didn't excel at it.
Right.
Like I did. I told Vince, I said, if you want me to do this, I got to do it all the way.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you go all the way. And if you go too far over, I'll pull you back. I'll reel you back in if you go too far. Right. So, we would do crazy stuff. It was Saddam's birthday, and I'd stop at a store and get a birthday cake, and I'd take it out to the ring, and I'd tell people, Adnan and I'd be standing in the middle of the ring. I'd say, for those of you who may or may not know it, it's Saddam's birthday today, and we're wondering if you all would join us in singing happy birthday to him.
Wow.
So we start singing happy birthday, and we would time it so my opponent's music would hit, and I'd get the cake in the face and whatever, make the people happy. And then we did a few times where I'd say, for those of you who may not know this, it's Veterans Day in Iraq, and I was wondering if you all would stand up and give 10 seconds of silence to all the brave Iraqi soldiers who died in the overtake of Kuwait.
Oh, my goodness.
And my opponent couldn't get out there fast enough for the people were coming over the railings. I mean, they wanted to kill me, and had not. And so that's how we would do it,
I don't think we'll ever see that again. No. I don't think we'll ever see that
not to that extent, never.
I was always keeping one eye out to watch Adnan because he was on the floor all by himself,
Oh,
so I'd always have to keep an eye on him also.
Mm-hmm. I never knew how dangerous it was to eat Chinese food with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See? People attacking with chopsticks. You never know.
You could have been poisoned.
I know, exactly.